Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian, and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here in Western Canada. I hope all of you are having an awesome weekend so far. Everyone, this is an IELTS speaking part 2 cue card class. We're going to be looking at a cue card that requires you to talk about a lucky time in your life. So an event in your life that you felt was quite fortuitous or quite lucky. Welcome Anna, hi Fuang, hi Domenico, Elizabeth, Romelia. Nice to have our members joining in on the class. Students, tomorrow at this time we have a class on our websites on aehelp.com for academic IELTS. Visit us there for the general IELTS. Check us out at gieltshelp.com. These are the websites that power these live classes. This is our general IELTS website here at gieltshelp.com. Just click this big red button to join our premium IELTS package. It's just right above my head there. And for the academic IELTS, it's this website here. It's the blue background, and you can click this big red button there. To join the premium IELTS package, you can try it for free by clicking the green button that's just kind of behind me there. We are an IDP affiliate. We're a British Council partner. We're an IELTS test registration center. I'm a British Council agent, and tomorrow in your My Student account at this time, click this blue button. That's a little ways above my head there, and you will join the live class. Our very first live class through the website, and it should be quite fun and exciting. It will be a short speaking part 1 class with interactions. We'll use the student partner speaking function that we use regularly, that we're going to use today. Romelia, I see that you're having an issue hearing me. Shouldn't be a problem. It should be pretty good. Let me just check here. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, it should be fairly loud. Let me know if you're having difficulty hearing me. It does show a little bit low levels on my microphone. Yes, Anna, we will be continuing the lessons on YouTube as well. By the way, everyone, I'm looking at the chat, and this is a members chat class. So okay, Anahita says I can't hear you loudly either. So let me just quickly check my microphone settings. All right. Let's see. Give me a moment, and we'll see if I can't turn that up for you a little bit. Oh, yeah, sorry. Let's see if we can, okay. Because I was playing with it a little bit this morning. That could have been the issue. So just give me a second here. Okay, how about now? It should be a little bit better? Yeah, all right. Okay, that should fix it. Sometimes it's just the connection, right? Okay. All right. Good. Yeah, let me know always if there's ever anything, then let me know. Okay, everybody. So again, check out the website. We're going to use it a little bit later, and we're going to use the live class function tomorrow. Okay. All right, let's do this. So coming back to okay, so you're saying it's still a little bit low. That's interesting. It shouldn't be anymore. Let me just see. Yeah, wiring issue here. Romelia says no big difference. It's not good. Okay, let me just, yeah, let's see if I can fix that for you. You definitely want sound here. So okay, let's see. How about now? Is it a little bit better? Elizabeth, can you hear me now? A little bit better? I hope I didn't break a wire or something. Okay. Elizabeth says, I can hear you okay. All right. Maybe try turning up the volume on your end. Okay. Ghazi, can you hear me okay now? Okay. Fuang says it's better. Okay. Let me just keep cranking it up there for you. How about now? Yes, we will use our camera, Anahita, in tomorrow's class as well. Yep, you can. Okay. All right. How's the sound now? Is it better or still kind of low? Okay, let me know. Okay. Anna says I hear you okay. So it should be okay. Maybe somebody needs to turn up their systems. Yeah, all right. All right. Should be okay. Let me just, let me play with it a little bit more. All right. Okay. I'm going to keep going. Let me know if I'm not audible, okay? All right. Should be fine. It's interesting that some of you can hear me and some of you can't. That's starting to tell me that it's maybe not completely on my end. All right. Okay, everybody. So for apps, check out Academic IELTS Help and General IELTS Help. For discount codes, use Inspire9. This is coming from a new video that we just released. And check out this blog on the website for talking about your dream house for part 2. Okay. All right. There you go. Okay. So students, if you have questions, send me an email. Adrian@aehelp.com. Yes, Elizabeth, the live class on the website will be for everyone. Or send me an email to admin@aehelp.com. So if you have questions, they don't get answered, just send me an email there. The time, Anahita, for tomorrow's class on the website will be the same time as this class. So starting at this time, okay? All right. Let's see. So here's the schedule. It's talking about times. So we've got the Speaking Part 2 class right now for members, and we've got Speaking Part 3 for everyone after this class. And then tomorrow at the same time, so it's going to be probably a little bit longer. It'll be about a 45-minute Speaking Part 1 class starting at 13:30 UTC. Okay? And then we'll have a couple days break, and Speaking Part 1 will continue here on YouTube on Thursday. Okay. All right, everybody. A new video with a really good IELTS speaking candidate available for you on the channel. Check that out when you have a minute. It's there. Okay. Now, students, Speaking Part 2, let's get into it. So IELTS Speaking Part 2 comes after Part 1. Again, this is a members chat class, so you do need to be a member to join the chat, but of course everybody is welcome to watch. We will have a Speaking Part 3 class after this one that will focus on lucky events. Okay. All right. So Speaking Part 2. You have to speak loud and clear for part 2, and you want to make sure that you're speaking and repeating what I say and how I say it as we practice this. This is a speaking class, everybody. And then you will have lots of chances today to practice this cue card and speak through the website. Okay. All right. Students, again, speaking part 2, it's a 1 to 2 minute little presentation that you give to the examiner based on the questions presented. Okay. Basically the examiner, after about 5 or 6 minutes of part 1, will say, that is the end of part 1. We will now continue with part 2. For this part, I will show you some questions. You will have 1 minute to read these questions, think about your answers, and then you will have 1 to 2 minutes to speak. I will tell you when to start and when to stop. Think of a time when you were lucky. Okay. Your 1 minute preparation time begins now. Think of a time means that you're talking about an event, so a situation that happened in your life. Okay. And when you talk about an event, members, what should you include and how should you include it? Okay, so when the cue card question focuses on an event, what do you need to include to make sure that your audience understands? Yeah, Maya, you can. Okay, so you can make up a story, but if you can think of a real time, that would be better. So I get this question a lot. Is it okay to make up a story? Okay, yes, of course it is. So you can definitely make up a story, but it is better in most situations to give a real answer. So keep that in mind. Because you have more content, and usually the content is clear. Okay. All right, so Anahita says that when you're talking about an event, you should include the time. Plus, you should talk about the people. Okay, so the people that were at the event, the location of the event. Yes, absolutely. The activities and the experience or the feelings. Yes. Right, so what you felt, what happened. Okay, the feelings. Yeah, it's a good way to think about it. Good. All right. So now, think about a time that you were lucky. Okay. What are some typical situations where people are lucky? Okay. So what are some common situations? And if you can't think of it, so this is, I think, going back to the question that was raised by Maya, is it okay to make something up? Yes, it is. However, there are probably, there are probably some situations where you were lucky. And if you think about common situations where people are lucky, then you will likely realize, like, oh yeah, I had a situations like that. Okay, so Anna says they might win a scholarship. Yeah, that can take a bit of luck, for sure. I agree. Anna says winning some kind of competition. Okay, you want to be more specific. Yeah, Romelia, absolutely. A test situation. If you have an essay question or a topic come up, for sure. So Romelia, you know a lot about chemistry, if I'm not mistaken. And if you had an exam and the question was about chemistry, or you had a reading passage, right? You could say something like, actually, I was very lucky in the reading section of the IELTS exam yesterday because two of the IELTS passages focused on marine biology. One was about dolphins, and the other was about ocean currents. And fortuitously, or fortunately, my university major is oceanography. Right? So you could totally have that kind of a lucky situation. Okay. All right, Elizabeth says winning money or winning just some kind of a prize, right? Most of us, or many of us, have had that situation. Ghazi says, when I won a TV from the local market. Did that really happen, Ghazi? Did you really win a TV? And it could be, yes, so some kind of a prize. All right. Anahita says, going to Japan in my childhood. So, yeah, going on a special trip for sure can be lucky. I'm kind of sad that nobody has mentioned one of the other really lucky kinds of situations that are probably or arguably what I would say the luckiest situation. So what do you think I'm thinking about? So there's another kind of situation that I would say is very, very lucky. Elizabeth says it happened to me, the TV. Ghazi. Yes, thank you, Elizabeth. Elizabeth got it. Elizabeth said love. Of course. Romelia realized when I probably said, well, okay. So, yes, absolutely. So in relationships, luck in relationships. All right. So yes, that's one of the kinds of situations where we have a serendipitous luck. Does everybody know the meaning of serendipity? Can somebody tell me what that is? You guys are gonna get me blushing in this class. Ghazi says, oh yeah, that's a good one. And it doesn't have to be the love of your life, right? It could be a best friend, for example, or yeah. Serendipity is kind of like an unexpected coincidence, yeah, or chance that seems to have been preordained. Look at that new word. See, when you come up with a good idea, you also start to come up with a lot of great vocabulary. Planned in the great divine book of determination. Okay. I'm sure all of you have heard this concept of determination versus free will. Okay, so it is the idea that all of life is actually a planned script that we live, versus the idea that life is a series of sorry of unplanned choices. Okay, my throat cracked there, everybody. All right, So Ghazi says a coincidence is better than 1,000 plans. Ghazi, I think that you're translating there, but I get what you're saying. Okay, so you've probably, maybe all of you have heard about this concept of determination versus free will in English, right? All right, getting into some interesting concepts here. Relationships are definitely a good one, and you know what? I'll share with you the lucky encounter that I had with my significant other, because mine was very lucky. How about that? You guys want to hear that story in my life? How I met my wife? Watch the views go up. Whoa, it just got interesting. Right. Okay. How I met my wife. Why not? Okay. All right. Yes, Ghazi, this is very true. A happy wife is a happy life. Okay. Here we go. Let me get into it. So, what did we say? We said that we should talk about the time, right? So this was 2005. October. I will never forget that. Okay, so that is the time of the event. Okay. The attendees here are, of course, my wife, who is now my wife, myself, and my best friend. It is a good story. You guys are going to like this one. All right, the location is Budapest, and it's actually called the Jam Pub. It's a jazz club. Okay, and there's another place that's worth mentioning here. It's called Mammoth Mall. Okay, so I'm remembering the locations here. It's very nostalgic. That's right, Elizabeth. I can't forget that. And the activities. Dancing. Dinner. And public transportation. Public transportation. Oh, and mobile phones. You're going to have a fun story here with me today. Okay, and the experience. I don't know if I want to say love at first sight. I would probably say not love at first sight. You're going to learn why. All right. And of course, excitement, fun, and fortune. There's a lot of, don't forget that feeling, especially when the card's dealing with it, right? Fortunate, exciting. Okay. While we get into this, everybody watching, members, think about a lucky time in your life. And if you want to talk about a lucky relationship, fine. You don't have to. You can talk about another type of lucky event. It could be getting to a place on time, or missing the train and something else lucky happening on the way. So it could be other lucky times. Just kind of follow the same concept. So think about the time, think about the people, the attendees, think about the locations, think about what happened and the events. Okay, so think about those and you should be good. All right. Okay. So before I get ahead of myself, what should I do here? So let's say I have about 15 seconds remaining in my planning. Remain in the preparation time. What should I do? That's right, Fuang. We need to get our first sentence out. So, perhaps the most fortunate time in my life was when I met my wife. Now notice that I keep it really simple. So I don't talk about the location. I don't use any fancy words. It's just really like simple and straightforward. I want to make sure that I don't make any mistakes. Okay. Now I can start going into more details. Okay. So I was traveling around Europe with my best friend. Now, when you have a story like this, so this story would definitely be longer than 2 minutes if I included all the details. You have to control yourself. So this is an important tip, students, because on the IELTS, often candidates either don't have enough ideas and they get stuck and they can't speak for 2 minutes, which is not good. It lowers scores. Or sometimes the opposite happens, where somebody has a really good answer and they have a lot of information, and then they don't answer all the questions on the card, and they're not able to finish their story and they get stopped in the middle, and it's just kind of unclear. So make sure to practice the 2 minute time frame. Okay, so make sure to practice that 2 minute time limit at home. Everybody should do that at least 5-10 times before they sit their IELTS exam. So be sure to sit and practice the 2 minute time limit of the cue card at home. Okay, right, super important. Domenico, when you just did your exam the other week, how were you able to finish in the 2 minutes? Did you have a good start and a good finish? Were you able to get to your concluding sentence? Was it natural? Did the examiner go, oh, okay, your time is up at that time? Or were they kind of still looking at you like that was a bit too fast, or you got stopped in the middle of your sentence? So what happened? Were you able to finish in the 2 minutes? Yeah? And you feel good, right? So when you do that, when you finish in the 2 minutes, then you kind of feel good about that. You're like, oh, okay, that felt like it was a good, complete story. Okay, so here we go. Perhaps the most fortunate time in my life was when I met my wife. I was traveling around Europe with my best friend, Corey, at the time in 2005, September and October. During the 5th week of our trip, we were visiting Budapest. And we happened to be having fun at a jazz club. No longer exists, sadly. Jazz club called the Jam Pub at Mammoth Mall. While there, I saw a beautiful girl who I asked for a dance. And she said no. Said no. So it's true story. So I disappointedly walked away. Yes, this story's got some twists and turns in it. Absolutely. It's not, it could be a little mini movie. And she said no. Strangely, a few days later, we happened to meet up at the same place with my cousin and a 1 in a million chance that pretty girl was there again too, which was really serendipitous because we're talking about a city of 3 million people and neither her nor I visit this place often. But I'm going to take it one step at a time here. I'm getting pretty excited telling you all the story. Okay, so I happened to meet up in the same place with my cousin and a 1 in a million chance that pretty girl was there too. This time, when I asked her for a dance, she said yes, and we hit it off. We had a really good connection and had a pleasant conversation over a drink afterwards. I asked her on a date the following weekend. And she happily said yes. She happily agreed to meet me at a restaurant. Okay. Now you're thinking, well, that's not 2 minutes. And you're right, it's not so far, but the story's just getting good. All right. So again, notice that although I am getting really excited telling this story, I don't tell it all that often these days. I do keep in mind the cue card. So on the IELTS, no matter how excited you are or how good your answer is or how excited you are about your answer, you have to look at the cue card. So think of a time when you were lucky. Where did this happen? When was it? Who were you with? Why were you lucky? And how did you feel about it? You have to make sure that you're answering those questions, okay? All right. Now, here we go. Perhaps the most fortunate time in my life was when I met my wife. I was traveling around Europe with my best friend Corey at the time in 2005, September and October. During the 5th week of our trip, we were visiting Budapest and we happened to be having fun at a jazz club called Jam Pub at Mammoth Mall. While there, I saw a beautiful girl whom I asked for a dance and she said no. So I disappointedly walked away. Strangely, a few days later, we happened to meet up at the same place with my cousin and a 1 in a million chance that pretty girl was there too. This time, when I asked her for a dance, she said yes, and we hit it off. We had a really good connection and a pleasant conversation over a drink afterwards. I asked her on a date the following weekend, and she happily agreed to meet me at the restaurant. On the Saturday, while going to the restaurant, I was delayed because of a major event impeding the public transit. This worried me because I did not have a phone or any way to tell her that I was going to be late. Indeed, she thought I had stood her up and she left the restaurant. Dun, dun, dun. And I don't have her phone number, everybody. What happens next? Uh-oh. True story. This is, you can't make up a story like this. That's the reality, right? This is where they say truth is stranger than fiction. Truth is stranger than fiction. Okay. All right. Again, Lady Luck had intervened. Because as she was leaving the restaurant, she bumped into one of her friends. Who held her up at the entrance for about 10 minutes. Okay. Now, again, everybody remember, this is happening in a city of 3 million people, right? So she was not planning to meet her friend there. That friend just fortunately went to that restaurant. Simultaneously, I was able to catch the last bus that was crossing the Danube River which got me to my destination. Alas, I was ecstatic to see that she was still there at the entrance. When she saw me, she smiled, and the rest is history. After 16, I have to do some quick math there. 16 years of happy marriage and 2 beautiful children, I would certainly say that this is the luckiest time of my life. Okay, so notice the concluding sentence here. Okay, as excited as I am, I always keep the topic of the cue card in mind here. Okay, so in a nutshell, in about a 2-minute time frame, that is the story of my fortunate time. Okay, all right. So there you go. That's it. Take a look. I'm going to go through it, and I'm going to highlight some pieces of my story here that helped to get a high score. You probably realized, well, I was saying this, that, oh, there's like an interesting idiom or an interesting expression in this story, right? Okay. Fuang says she's definitely my destiny. Thanks, Fuang. All right, so here we go. Here's the cue card again. So think of a time when you were lucky. Where did this happen? When was it? Who were you with? Why were you lucky? And how did you feel about it? I'm pretty sure I've answered all the questions on the cue card for this now. And the examiner here says, okay, your 1-minute time is up. Please begin speaking. So Here we go. Perhaps the most fortunate time in my life was when I met my wife. I was traveling around Europe with my best friend, Corey, at the time in 2005, September and October. During the 5th week of our trip, we were visiting Budapest, and we happened to be having fun at a jazz club called the Jam Pub at Mammoth Mall. While there, I saw a beautiful girl whom I asked for a dance, and she said no. So I disappointedly walked away. Strangely, a few days later, we happened to meet up at the same place with my cousin, and a 1 in a million chance that pretty girl was there too. This time, when I asked her for a dance, she said yes, and we hit it off. We had a really good connection and had a pleasant conversation over a drink afterwards. I asked her on a date the following weekend, and she happily agreed to meet me at a restaurant. On the Saturday, while going to the restaurant, I was delayed because of a major event, and I believe that event was a running event, kind of like the one that I'm doing tomorrow, like a marathon along the Danube there, impeding public transit. This worried me because I did not have a phone or any way to tell her that I was going to be late. Indeed, she thought I had stood her up, and she left the restaurant. Again, Lady Luck had intervened, because as she was leaving the restaurant, she bumped into one of her friends who held her up at the entrance for about 10 minutes. Simultaneously, I was able to catch the last bus that was crossing the Danube River, which got me to my destination. Alas, I was ecstatic to see that she was still there at the entrance. When she saw me, she smiled, and the rest is history. After 16 years of happy marriage and 2 beautiful children, I would certainly say that this is the luckiest time of my life. Okay, so obviously you saw me underlining and highlighting some of the pieces here, okay? Now, that's not by accident, okay? So what I was doing, what do you think I was doing? So what was I, here's a question. What was I highlighting? What pieces of this story was I highlighting and underlining? I was highlighting what? Okay, what was I highlighting? By the way, can everybody hear me okay now? Is the audio good? Is it the same as usual, or is it a little bit quieter, or what's going on? Just so I know how to troubleshoot it between the 2 classes. Let me know that as well, please, members. Okay. So Romelia, if it's still quieter than usual, or everybody else, if it's still quieter than usual, let me know. Maya says it seems to be okay. All right. So, and when you say okay, Maya, do you mean like it's the same as usual, or it's still a little bit quieter? Okay, Romelia says same volume. Fong says it's a little low. Ghazi says it sounds fine with the headset. Okay, I'll take a look. All right. Yes, Elizabeth, I will go through the words here in a second. Okay, so highlighting was the grammar. Okay, and underlining was the vocabulary. Okay, and I'm just seeing that it's a little big too. Okay, all right, and so the grammar, let's take a look. Okay, so here During the 5th week of our trip, we were visiting Budapest. What kind of grammar is that? So this grammar here, during the 5th week of our trip, we were visiting Budapest, and we happened to be having fun at a jazz club called the Jam Pub at Mammoth Mall. So what kind of grammar is that? Okay. All right, let me know. This sentence is, here, let me show you. Okay. So this sentence is a complex sentence using during, which is a subordinating conjunction of time. Now, in this case, during the 5th week of our trip is the independent, or sorry, it's the dependent clause, also called the subordinate clause. Okay. And the rest of it, we were visiting Budapest is the main clause or the independent clause. Okay, so you want to use that kind of complex grammar in your speaking to get those higher band scores. All right, what other kinds of grammar am I using here? So here, while there, comma, this is also subordinating conjunction. So while there, this part here, while there is a connection, it's also a dependent clause, just like during the 5th week of our trip. So during the 5th week of our trip, while there are similar. Okay. Both are a subordinate clause of time. So one is using during, the other is using while. Okay. All right, so I'm teaching you a little bit of technical language here as well. Okay, so while there and during the 5th week, they're both very, very similar. Use these, okay? So while there, during the 5th week of our trip. Okay, then I've got some more grammar here for you. I saw a beautiful girl whom I asked for a dance. What kind of grammar is this using the whom? Okay. What kind of grammar is that? So I saw a beautiful girl whom I asked for a dance. It's a Fuang. Very good. Fuang says it's a relative pronoun, right? Exactly. Domenico says it's a relative pronoun. The girl that I asked for a dance. Okay. It's really good to use whom and which for your relative pronouns in your speaking to give more details and more description. Okay. Okay, all of these different kinds of grammatical structures are improving your grammatical range, of course, and you're getting higher scores, okay? All right, and Romelia says also use whose. Yes, Romelia. Okay, so use your, Anna says, yes, relative clauses. Absolutely. Use relative clauses and descriptive clauses. Okay, very important. All right. And then how about this here? She said no. I will never forget that moment. All right. She said no. I asked her for a dance and she said no. What kind of language structure is that? Okay. And again, of course the examiner did, Domenico. Romelia says, this is reported speech. Yes, and what kind of reported speech is it? Okay, it is reported speech. To be more specific, this is... Let's see if somebody got the more specific name for it. It's reported speech. There's two types of reported speech, of course, in language. And this one is... What kind of reported speech? Fwang says it's active. Anahita says it's direct. That's right. This is direct reported speech. Versus the indirect, right? She had told me no. Okay, that would be the indirect. She had told me no. Indirect always moves back one in grammar. So she said no, she had told me no, or she told me no. Okay, it's actually more accurate. She told me no. All right, and so that would be your indirect. You change direct to indirect by changing sometimes the words and always the verb. The verb if it's present tense, if she... she had, because said is past tense. So she had told me no. So said is the past tense, and then had told me is the past perfect, right? And so that would be the indirect form of that reported speech. All right, so regardless, keep in mind direct and indirect, and notice that I use it a couple of times, so I use it here as well. She said yes. Okay. All right. So I'm using a variety of grammar forms throughout this response. Obviously, most of it is past and past perfect. That's reflecting the nature of the cue card. So talk about a time you were lucky, right? So obviously, this is an event that has happened and that happened in the past, right? So we're using mostly past tense throughout this response. Now, there are lots of great vocabulary here as well, and I'm going to explain each one of these nice and quickly for you. Okay. All right, let's do this. So just give me one moment while I pull out this vocabulary for us. Okay, there. So the underlined vocabulary. Now, obviously, using rich vocabulary and the right vocabulary will help your score. So using certain words that are specific, expressions, idiomatic expressions, phrasal verbs can help you. And one important recommendation, of course, is to use synonyms for the topic. So here the topic is luck. So we are paraphrasing that. And luck is paraphrased either by a synonym like this, fortunate, lucky, right? Or with an expression. 1 in a million chance. It's very lucky. Okay. All right, so again, fortunate, and this is where you should be doing some repetition. So you should be repeating after me. Okay, fortunate, lucky. 1 in a million chance. Okay, just again, repeat after me. A 1 in a million chance. Very lucky. Okay, we hit it off means that we had a good time from the start. Okay, it's again an idiom here. Okay, 1 in a million chance is an expression. Okay, so again, repeat after me. We hit it off. We had a good time. It's a very common expression. A good connection means we felt comfortable with each other. Okay, so this is kind of a collocation of sorts, but it's also an expression. Okay, so good connection. We felt comfortable with each other. Okay, now here it's conversation over a drink. Okay, over is meaning basically while having. So a discussion while enjoying a beverage, usually an alcoholic beverage, and that was true in this case as well. Unless stated otherwise. Okay, so you could say, for example, a good conversation over a glass of milk. Okay, you could say that, but then you're going to say over a glass of milk. If you just simply tell somebody a good conversation over a drink, it generally means you're having an alcoholic drink. Okay. All right, impeding. Impeding means to prevent, to block, to stop. To get in the way. Okay, that's what it means to impede. All right. Yes, Romelia, very good. Hindering, right? To hinder is to impede. Okay. Indeed means definitely. In actuality. Truthfully. Honestly. Okay, that expression that's often used, like honestly speaking. All right, this is an interesting idiom coming up here. Stood her up. This is definitely an idiom, idiomatic expression. To stand someone up means to not show up for a meeting, usually a date. Not necessarily boyfriend or girlfriend. Okay, so you can stand up your friend too, for example. Okay, my friend stood me up even though we had confirmed that we would meet at the gym at 6 o'clock. So you can use it like that. Okay, my friend stood me up even though we confirmed that we would meet at the gym at 6 o'clock. Okay. All right. It's not Lady Luck that cast a spell on me in this case, Romelia. It would be Cupid that cast a spell on me. Okay. So, well, yeah, I guess I get what you're saying, Romelia. But we don't say Lady Luck cast a spell on me. This is the tricky part of English, is when there is an expression, then if you don't use the expression correctly to the native ear, it sounds kind of awkward. When we are love struck, okay, so this is where you're getting into some fancy English. So when you're love struck, okay, it would be Cupid cast a spell on you. Okay, when Lady Luck is helping, then we would say, Romelia, naturally you would say Lady Luck was on your side. Okay, so you were blessed with good fortune. All right, so that would be the right way to say it. Lady Luck was on your side. Okay. All right. Lady Luck had intervened. This means that a fortunate event occurred. Okay, now this is obviously an idiom. And it's also a bit of what we call personification. Personification is when you give a human-like quality to something. So in this case, to the concept of Lady Luck, because it's like I give Lady Luck actual shape and form, that she's intervening. Okay. Romelia says, I see Lady Luck is more mundane than Cupid. That's right. Yes, Lady Luck is more metaphysical. Yes. Bump into means to meet by accident. The single verb to say to meet by accident is to encounter. Okay. Held her up. Stopped her from doing or continuing as planned. Okay. Can everybody give me a sentence with held up, this phrasal verb? Can you put a sentence in the chat with held up? Give me a sentence with that, held up. While you're thinking about that sentence, simultaneously means at the same time. Alast means finally or at the end. Okay. Ecstatic means extremely happy. And the rest is history is an expression used to mean the outcome is known and needs no mention. Okay. All right. So, and the rest is history. Again, it's an expression. Okay. And the outcome is unknown. All right. Here we go. Held her up. Anybody? Yes, so to hit it off means to like from the very beginning, Romelia. Absolutely. Okay, so Maya says this. All right, let me check your sentences because some of these are tricky to use, right? So Maya has this sentence for us. This is why I'm asking you to do this, because you should practice these. So it's good that you're listening, you're understanding, but you should practice. Okay? So Maya says this. Maya says, my friend whom I bumped into yesterday at the mall held me up not to go home on my way home. Okay? All right, so the correct language there, the natural language there is on my way home. Okay? So Maya, repeat that. My friend whom I bumped into yesterday at the mall held me up on my way home, not to go home. Held me up on my way home is the natural way. Okay, Ghazi. Yeah, so you got to practice these. It's one step to understand. It's another step to use it correctly. So Ghazi says, I held my work up yesterday because of the storm. No, Ghazi. The storm held you up from doing your work. Okay? So the storm held me up from my work yesterday. That's the correct way to say it. Okay? To hold up is kind of physical. It's almost more of the movement than the actual doing. Okay? So, Ghazi, I held my work up yesterday because of the storm. I understand what you're trying to say, but it sounds very awkward and it's quite incorrect. The correct way is the storm held me up from my work. So here it's the storm that's holding you up. Held me up from my work yesterday. Okay? All right? So practice these, students. Practice these expressions, these words. All right, let's do some volunteering, everybody, for speaking. So go to the website. If you're already there, use the student partner speaking. Okay, click on that in the website. And then once you've clicked on that, you can volunteer and practice the Speaking Part 2 cue card. We'll do this for the rest of the class. So here we go, everyone. We've already got some people in here, and we'll wait for others. Domenico is in here. Manikanta, Huyen, MD Hamidul, very nice. Rihan, Anil, and lots more. Angel, it's good. All right, let's see if we can get a member in here as well. We've got some premium students. Let's see if Angel's with us here. All right, Angel. Angel's one of our channel members. Are you ready? Okay, and then we'll practice this cue card. I'm excited to hear about your lucky time.
Sir,
Hi, Angel. How are you?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm also doing quite well. Thanks for asking. Yeah, it was fun sharing that story of my past with everybody. All right, Angel, what do you
Yeah.
think? Luck is usually on your side. Do you feel like you're a lucky person?
I'm not a pessimistic person. I try to feel that I'm lucky.
Good. Yeah, I mean, life takes a bit of luck, and I think that my honest feeling is that luck is very closely related to effort. So people who put a lot of effort into life seem to be also lucky often.
Yeah.
All right. So Angel, I'm going to show you the card. You'll see it on the screen here in just a moment. I'll start you off, and then give me a nice full answer. I'll tell you when to start, when to stop. Ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so think of a time when you were lucky. Your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
Um, the first occasion that comes to my mind when I think about the time that I was lucky in my life goes back to 3 years ago when I overslept before my flight. I vividly remember that I was supposed to go to the Maldives with my friends to spend our holiday. However, on that day, I was too tired from packing my luggage, and I ended up falling asleep on the sofa. Suddenly, I woke up after hearing the doorbell, and I realized that I had just 1 hour before my flight and needed to be at the airport within 30 minutes. My friends started calling me continuously, and I told them I was going to miss my flight, so I would change my ticket. However, they insisted that I have to try to make it to the airport. So I quickly took a taxi and arrived just 10 minutes before my flight. Um, to my dismay, the gate was already closed, and they informed me that I couldn't board the plane anymore. I felt disappointed and I felt disappointed, and ultimately, just as I was about to give up, um, but Lady Luck intervened. The airport announced a 4-hour delay for the flight, and at the moment, I felt incredibly lucky because I could now pass through the gates and join my friends. We sat together peacefully, chatting for hours, and even I managed to take a short nap without feeling stressed.
Okay, your 2 minutes is up. I'll stop you there, and we'll now continue on to part three. That definitely sounds like a real story.
Not
Angel.
the answer.
It is a real story, isn't it?
No.
No, you made it up.
Yeah.
You should be a story writer. That was really good. That was really good. Did something similar to that happen, or did you go to the Maldives? Was there something that you based that on, or was that completely fictitious?
Um. Yes. Once. Yes, sir. Something similar to this happened, but it was related when I was going to on a date with my friend, and I fell asleep before, and I
Okay,
missed the date. Yeah.
and you missed the date.
Yeah.
Poor guy. All right. Or poor friend.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was really good. Anyway, the reason I'm asking that is because if you are making up a story and there is a situation that you can kind of connect it to, like let's say that you went to the Maldives, you weren't actually late, but you kind of had a similar thought of like, oh, how lucky that I'm not late and I didn't have this happen. But very good storytelling. So, yeah, that was very impressive. You had me fooled. I'll tell you that. You had me fooled. At first I was like, okay, I think she's probably making this up, but then the details that you gave and the quantification of like the 4-hour delay, I'm like, oh, it must have happened. That's the power of details and numbers, is it convinces your audience that what you're saying is actually real. So, couple of really good elements, everybody, and Angel is setting a really good example here for everyone of how you should approach your learning. Use what you learn. So, Angel, it was really good that you used some new expressions that you learned, like Lady Luck had intervened. And also, you did a really good job using the grammar that we talked about. So, the direct and indirect reported speech. So, you said, my friends had told me at the airport they had announced. Those are all kind of direct or indirect speech elements that are helping your score go up, up, and up. I would definitely say that your band score for that response to this question would be in the band 8.5 to even 9 category. There were just a couple of very slight or small mistakes, and depending on your examiner, it would be anywhere from an 8 to a 9. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So really good. Yeah, really good. There's not much that I can critique. Like I say, make sure you're recording yourself and catch those little mistakes. There was one that I caught here. Let me just review. Yeah, this one here. So my friends started to call me continuously. Okay. Pay attention always to this kind of a logic error in the language, because it leads to language and then grammatical errors as well. So you either start to do something or you continuously do something. It's it's almost impossible to have that situation where you're starting and doing continuously. So the correct English here would
They were
be
calling me.
my friends were calling me continuously.
Yeah.
So just repeat after me. My friends were calling me nonstop.
My friends were calling me nonstop.
My mobile was ringing off the hook.
My mobile were ringing up.
It's a tricky one. I gave you an idiom there. My mobile was ringing off the hook.
My mobile was ringing off the hook.
Okay. It means I was being called nonstop. It comes from the days when we all had our phones at home on the wall, and when the phone would ring, the phone would kind of bounce a little bit, and literally, I don't know if you were alive at this time, but some of our older students might remember this, when somebody was like calling, like a new boyfriend that just fell in love and can't stop calling the girlfriend, the phone would literally sometimes like fall off the wall, because it was just ringing so much. So this idiom comes from that time. The phone was ringing off the hook.
Yeah, gotcha.
Okay, so repeat after me. The phone was ringing off the hook.
The phone was ringing off the hook.
Good. All right. So otherwise, really good. Okay. So other than a couple of those slight errors, overall excellent. So excellent vocabulary, fluency, pronunciation. You're checking off all of the boxes, Angel. So well done.
Thank you so much, sir.
All right. And great imagination. Again, that was impressive. Have a great rest of your day, Angel.
Thanks a bunch, sir. You too.
All right. Bye, Angel. All right. So don't oversleep those flights, right? Okay. Let's see who else is in here. I'm trying to keep in mind who has had chances and who has not had chances. Let's give someone who might be new a chance here. Rihan, are you ready? Okay, maybe Rihan is there with us. Rihan says yes. Okay, and I am looking for our members, so hang in there, members. Hi, Rihan.
Hi, sir. How are you?
I am doing great. Rihan, is this our first time talking?
Yes, this is my very first time talking with you, but I have been following you since 2019, I believe.
Oh, wow. That's a long time. We haven't spoken to each other, Rihan. What took so long?
I would say just, I was curious to talk with you, but I did not have a chance to catch you up on live because my time zone is a bit different.
Where are you?
I'm from Bangladesh.
Okay.
I live in Southern Asia, Bangladesh.
Yeah, so you're 13 hours ahead of me, I believe. So it's like 11 o'clock almost for you at nighttime, right?
Yes, sir.
That's definitely ahead of me. All right. Well, Rihan, let's do this. Let's do this part two. I'm happy you're here. Let's do this speaking part two. It's a good topic to get to know each other with. So, a lucky time. Are you ready?
Yes, of course, sir. I'm really ready. Okay.
All right, perfect. So, think of a time when you were lucky. Your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
I think when I was really fortunate to meet with my college professor called Rinku Boy, he was a really and just explicit and very a genuine speaker in English. He wrote many unparalleled books which explain how to speak and communicate very clearly. It was back in just 2019, I would say 4 years ago, in September, if I remember correctly. I just met him in front of our campus. But being a student of this genius mastermind was a really just a luck for student. But one of my uh, just friends of my father was working there at college as a staff. He recommended me to be an just direct student under this genuine teacher. uh, when I just first time met with him, I was with my just best friend Siam. He was just helping me so that I could recover from the depression, because I would get really nervous when I just meet with someone very uh, quality person. Uh, uh, After meeting him and working under him, I just gained a lot of experience how to communicate with people, and I just learned so many grammatical range and vocabulary from him that I really used while searching for a job. Especially from learning him, I got chance in Dhaka University, which is a top university in our country. Then I just graduated from there and landed on a job at a five-star restaurant as a manager. This event really, I would say, has saved my life by giving me employment, and I would say this was one of the luckiest times I have ever had in my life.
Okay, your time is up. I'll stop you there. And we'll go on to part 3. Okay. I think your band score would be about a band 6. Okay, so you're fluent. You have good structure, good technique. I like how you had an introduction and then you had a conclusion. Your word choice, your grammatical accuracy, and your fluency are the 3 elements that need to improve to get a higher score. So throughout your speaking, you're making some awkward mistakes, and I can follow you. However, it's lacking detail, and I do have to kind of pay attention to figure out exactly what you're saying. Careful with the expression in your speech, the you know. You use it too frequently, and you use it in awkward ways to kind of fill in gaps or fill in situations where you're not being fluent. Okay, so what I recommend that you do to improve your speaking is record yourself, listen to the recording, and every time that you hear yourself use the expression you know, think about the correct language or grammar that should be there to make that part of the answer fluent. Okay? All right. I think you used you know maybe about 15 to 20 times in this roughly 2 minutes. It's way too much. It's better to avoid saying you know, but if you must, if it's a part of your addiction, use it maybe once or twice, but definitely not 5-10 times. Okay, because then it's a replacement phrase, not a useful phrase at that point, so be careful. Also, pay attention to prepositions. Okay, oftentimes you're missing your prepositions or prepositions, as some people call them. So especially after learning from him, if you omit the preposition, if you take it out, it starts to make the language awkward and incoherent, like saying especially after learning him. You mean learning from him, right? So you have to be really careful with those prepositions, right? Pay special attention to that as well. And of course the topic, like I think I realized that the reason you said you were really lucky is because he had taught you to be very good at communicating, right? And that helped you to get a really good job and to be successful in life. Be concise, right? So I was very lucky to learn from him to be great at talking with others. This helped me succeed in life. Can you just repeat what I said? So being really concise like that, right? It was really lucky to meet with him because he taught me to communicate very well, and this helped me succeed in life. Go for it. Just that concept.
He really helps me to succeed in my life.
Okay, don't start with the end, start with the beginning. So I was really lucky to meet him because he taught me to communicate very well, and this greatly helped me to succeed in life. Okay, so first is the answer. I was very lucky to meet with him. Second is the reason, because he taught me to communicate really well. And then the third is the outcome. This helped me to succeed in life. So answer, reason, outcome. Try it.
I was really lucky to meet with him because he helps me he
He helped me to communicate really well.
he helps me to communicate really well, which gave me the good handsome salary job.
Okay, so you
Okay.
got to be careful with that. So this is what I mean, like this is what I want you to focus on, is just stringing together these longer, more complex sentences. I think that your short form English is very accurate. So when you have a simple sentence, you express it very clearly and accurately. It's when you get more into the complex sentences, the compound sentences, that it starts to get a little bit awkward. So really focus on these long form compound complex sentences and just reaching clarity. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Reading and writing a lot will help with that as well. All right.
Yeah. Okay, sir.
All right, Rian, thank you for thank you for following me for so many years. Come back and talk to me again. Okay.
Okay, sir. Can I ask it?
Yeah.
Can
Go
I
ahead, Rihan.
can I
Ask a
ask
question.
some
Yeah,
question?
sure. Go for it.
Uh, just I would like to be member, premium student of your just a premium product.
Mm-hmm.
But will I get the opportunity to be to chat on the chat box in every class?
Not on YouTube. So if you're a premium member of the website, that's great. That's fantastic. By the way, in Bangladesh, we just started that Bcash system. So
Mm-hmm.
you can ask me more about that. Send me an email if you're curious about that. To be able to enter the chat in these member chat classes, that membership is through YouTube. So there should be a join button next to the subscribe button. If you don't see that join button, send me an email, because there are some other steps that you can take. There's some deep links or some links that you can use for Apple users, for example. So, but the membership through YouTube, that's a little bit different, and that's managed by Google and by YouTube, and you have to do that through YouTube. So definitely, I'll show you my email address here on the screen. Just give me a second, and then I'll keep an eye out for your email, and I'll give you like a detailed response. Okay. So
Okay.
send it to adrian@aehelp.com. So my name at aehelp.com. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. All right, Rihan, super good to meet with you. Have an awesome rest of the weekend, and join the chat tomorrow on the website. So there you will be able to join the chat, even if you're a free user. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you. You are so kind, and I hope I will be learning many things from you.
I hope so too. All right, Rihan, bye for now.
Bye for now, sir.
All right, that was Rihan. Let's give Rihan a thumbs up. That was really good. Okay, everybody. I've kind of run out of time, but not to worry. I'm back in 30 minutes with speaking part 3, everybody. Until then, practice with each other. So, Ghazi, I know you're really anxious to get in there, and a couple other students as well. And I will give you a chance. So I kind of saw who was volunteering there. Next class, we're going to spend more time on speaking interactions for sure. So maybe review the words from this class. They're definitely useful expressions and vocabulary for this topic, and it will be for luck. Join the premium version of the website here by clicking that red button. For general, it's here. It's the green background, everybody. I'm going to play around with my mic just to make sure that we don't have issues at the start of the next class, okay? And yeah, that was really good. So now you know a little bit more about me as well, and my background and my lucky times. And I look forward to seeing everybody in 30 minutes. Until then, register for the website, paid or free, so you can join the chat and come back and let's do speaking part 3 together. I'm Adrian. I'm signing out from Victoria, Canada for now, but I look forward to hearing more about your lucky events in life in half an hour. Bye for now, everybody.